Hi, I'm Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book Mindset Metamorphosis, no other than Mr. DK Kang.
Hi.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. DK. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Yeah, so my name's DK Kang. I wrote Mindset Metamorphosis. I wrote it during a really challenging time in my life. It's a book that kind of helps with dealing with like stress, being overwhelmed, and kind of being stuck. So I wrote it during my wife's cancer diagnosis. And so my background is um, I do. Um, I'm a martial artist, and I do a lot of like Spartan races, and I'm also a massage therapist that helps with um, athletic recovery. And so I wrote this book to kind of more so help me, but then it kind of transformed into kind of I wanted to kind of help everybody out. So that's a little bit about me.
Mr. DK Kang, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world.
Thank you. Thank you.
The title Mindset Metamorphosis evokes a complete transformation. How do you define a metamorphosis and mind as opposed to just making small changes?
Yeah, so for me, like I had to really rely on my faith. So the Bible talks about in Romans 12:2 about like to not conform to the pattern of this world, but to transform and have the renewing of your mind. And so for me, that was like um, when my wife got diagnosed with cancer, uh, we could have just been easily like just do what the doctor says. um, that for us that would have been like a fixed mindset, but then there's on the flip side there's a growth mindset. So we ended up just diving deep, doing a lot of research, and trying to really feed our mind of what the latest research is. And so like we had to grow our own mind and not just be limited in this small capacity of what we think cancer is. And so with our minds we had to renew it, and that's how we transformed, is by a growth mindset.
Very well said, Mr. DK. Very well said. Beautifully articulated. What was the personal catalyst that led you to explore the concept of mindset so deeply and it to write a specific guide?
Yeah, so the catalyst was, I mean, again, we could have been we could have been stuck just with my wife's cancer diagnosis, but we wanted to continue to learn about just our own minds, because sometimes, you know, when things are just going crazy, a cancer diagnosis, it shakes your world. And then literally a week later I got laid off my job. uh, right after that, I disclosed to my employers for a flexible work schedule. And so that was kind of the catalyst, because we could have had this limiting belief that um, the world is against us, and that life sucks. But we reframed it to, okay, well, how can we help others that may be going through this? And we wanted to change our own lives, and then also help others as well.
Why is a practical guide necessary for something as internal as mindset? Why cannot people just decide to think differently?
I think we live in a world where there's so much negativity, and we're bombarded by the news, we're bombarded by just natural disasters, we're bombarded by our own self-doubt. And so um, I think we all need a guide, almost like having a mentor, someone that's kind of been there before you, where you're stuck or something, and then that will kind of help you, like, all right, here's the next step to do and to guide you through it. And so I think all of us need practicals because that's how we learn.
Definitely. That's how we learn, people. And on the mechanics of mindset, what are the key components or layers of one's mindset that your book helps readers dismantle or rebuild?
I think I think first you need to recognize like those limiting mindsets, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or oh, I can't do this, or things like that. And then like actually recognizing when you're thinking these things, because we're human. We all go to the negative, but I think it's also just like recognizing that and then reframing it to like, okay, what can I do in this moment? Like, for instance, when my wife was diagnosed with cancer, we could have just been easily like, oh, like we can't heal from this. But our thinking was, well, let's continue to read and then just do whatever these books say to do with like nutrition or with doing some exercise. And so that's kind of the starting point.
How does your book help someone first become aware of their own limiting belief and default thinking patterns?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing to do is journaling, um, and like writing down those things, like when you are thinking, I mean, it could be anything from I'm not good enough, or that I'll never get a promotion. Like, I think just journaling it down, that will help. I mean, it helped me to kind of think about like what I'm feeling at this moment, and to write it down and to get it on paper. And then like, yes, this was what I was feeling, but is this true? No, it's not. This is not true, because this is not the outcome, because I don't know what the outcome is just yet. So I think journaling is a good point.
Journaling indeed. And what is the role of neuroplasticity in a mindset metamorphosis, and how do you reach or teach readers to leverage it?
Yeah, so neuroplasticity is, it kind of goes back to that growth and fixed mindset. Like when you're actually learning something, um, neurons in your brain are actually firing, and then they actually can go out into different directions. And then your brain will recognize as you do it, like something more and more. It's like, for instance, give you an example, like a baby. A baby is learning how to stand up and then eventually walk, but the neurons are firing where they're going to keep trying and trying and trying, but eventually it gets easier. And then the brain recognizes to the body, it's like, oh, I can stand up, I could actually walk. It's the same concept with as adults. If we're learning a new language, it's you start small, you start learning the alphabet, and then you start putting letters and words together, and then your brain recognizes that, and then you put two and two together, and it makes it easier. Then you start learning a new language. I mean, it goes for, I mean, anything in life. If you're, I do Spartan races, and you start walking, or you start trying to do, like running, but then your body's like, I don't know what this is. And so then as you run more, it gets easier. And then your body will recognize, like, oh, I can do this. It's hard at first, but then those neurons are firing in the brain.
Beautifully, beautifully articulated, Mr. DK. Very well said. How do you differentiate between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset in the real world beyond theoretical definitions?
Yeah, so like a growth mindset and a fixed mindset in the real world. For instance, let's say you start a new job or you got a promotion or you have a new role at your job, and then there's things that you've never done before. A fixed mindset is like, well, my brain is at full capacity. I don't need to learn this or I don't want to learn this because it's not going to be useful for me. But then a growth mindset is, um, let's just say, you got a promotion and the new role is using Excel and you never done Excel before. And so, but the growth mindset is like, well, let me go on YouTube or let me read a book on how to use Excel for my specific role, or even ask someone that's done this before and learning from them. And if we're not if we're not learning, we're not growing, we're literally dying at that moment because we're humans. We should always be growing our minds and growing our bodies. And so that's a real world situation. I mean, I just gave Excel as an example. It could be software, it could be Microsoft Word, or it could be using a new program or something like that.
On the practical application, can you walk us through one practical exercise or tool from the book that helps challenge and reframe a limiting belief?
Um, so a limiting belief, I mean, again, I'll just kind of use me as an example. Um, where my wife got diagnosed with cancer, you know, my limiting belief could have been, well, my wife has cancer. This is the end of the road, and so that's where. But not knowing what other people have done, because then I'm limiting my own mind. I'm limiting my own self, and then transitioning to that into, well, what is capable, like what have people done, and what can I do now that will change that limiting belief. Okay, again, that goes back to reading about a book about cancer, or reading about what other people have done. And so, and then mirroring what they've done, and then because that will help get rid of that limiting beliefs when you see other people have done it. And that's like building that community and having like an accountability partner, because these people have been there, done that, and then they're there to help you out to get out of that limiting mindset.
How does your guide help someone move from intellectual understanding to embodied belief and habitual action?
Yeah, so there's something called habit stacking, where um, you take like old habits, where let's just say you're trying to start a new habit of, I want to go walking more. And so you start this habit by like, all right, as my coffee is brewing, like let's just say you drink coffee in the morning every day, and as you're making coffee in the morning, it takes, let's say, 2 minutes to brew. Let's stack another habit on top of that, and then let's walk to the garage and back 5 times while your coffee is brewing. And then while you're so then now you're adding the walking steps. And then if you want to add another one, let's say you want to do like push-ups. Well, let's while your coffee's brewing, let's do 5 push-ups every morning. And so these small consistency actions, like if you do 5 push-ups every single day, you drink coffee, that adds up to a lot of push-ups. And then you can do that for anything. Like let's just say you're trying to be more mindful with meditation. Well, your coffee's brewing for 2 minutes, meditate for 2 minutes. Just think about things that you're grateful for in that moment while your coffee is brewing. And so it's like stacking these small habits on top of each other while you're doing something else, and it doesn't take extra time. So, but that will help you in the long run to be more consistent and have intention with it.
Mr. DK, as an author and faith fueled fighter teaching grit, gratitude, and growth in every season, what are your short term and long term goals?
Yeah, so short term is just want to be on more podcasts to help more people that feel stressed and overwhelmed and stuck. Long term goal is I'm working on another book about gratitude. I don't know when that will happen, but that's my short term, and then my long term as well is the next book.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. DK, and looking forward for more success. And what would be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
Start small, um, and be consistent, and take action with whatever you're trying to do, whether if it's trying to get a promotion, whether if it's trying to get back in shape, or whether if it's changing your mind. um, just start small and be consistent and take action.
Be consistent indeed. And thank you for that advice.
Thank
And
you.
can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
A book that I recommend, that I've read. I read a book in one setting. It took me like an hour. It's called the Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. It's a great book. It's very easily digestible. You could probably read it in a day. Um, it's a great book. How it basically talks about like how like these small little habits adds up to like the bigger picture, and they compound into your life. Great book.
Thank you for that recommended book, Mr. DK. And on the reader's journey of your book, for a reader who feels completely stuck in a fixed mindset, what is the first small step they should take without your book or with your book?
With or without my book, I mean,
Yes,
just continue
with.
to learn.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you want to pick up my book, great. Um, just continue to learn, and rinse and repeat. Like, a growth mindset, it's never ending. So, learn about mindset, learn about topics that you want to learn about. If you want trying to get into business, learn about business, read books, watch YouTube, follow someone that's done it before you, that's been there. And so, and then take those practicals. Don't just read my book. There's a lot of practicals in there to do. Don't just read it and just like, oh, that was an okay book. Actually, like, go meditate. Actually, go take a walk. Actually, go drink more water. Like, I talk about hydration in the book. I talk about sleep. Like, learn your learn your triggers on like how to get more sleep, because sleep is so important. And just take those practicals and actually go do it.
Do it, people. Just do it and learn every day. What's the common aha moment or breakthrough that readers frequently report experiencing while working through the guide?
Um, I think an aha moment is, I think, where they kind of look back on where they started, because change is not just, it's not like a like completely 180. It's like, if you're working out, you go to the gym 6 months, you don't notice anything. You're like, oh, like, I've been doing this 6 months every day. I don't think I'm stronger. But then when you look back when you first started, it's like, oh, I could only bench press 50 pounds. Now I'm at 150. I think it's the same with these small steps. Is like, oh, I wasn't able to, you know, drink half my body weight in ounces. And so When you first start, it's like, oh, I can only drink, one glass of water today. And then as you progress, you kind of look back and like, oh, I am progressing. And I think that's kind of the aha moment for people.
Totally aha, for sure. How is it the structure of the book designed to create cumulative, transformative effect rather than just being a collection of tips?
Yeah, so it's cumulative because it builds upon the last chapter, and so it go. The first chapter I talk about the growth mindset versus a fixed mindset, and so to kind of give you an idea of like, okay, this is kind of where we're going. We're going towards the growth, and so, and it again, it's kind of like these little things being added to your life daily. You don't have to go do like all the things that the book says, like pick and choose like what works for you. Like some people don't like meditating. I grew up doing martial arts. I love meditating, and for me it's a great de-stressor. And so but not everybody was, they don't know how to meditate, they didn't grow up doing it. So, it's these small things. Try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, move on to the next thing and try that. And then that's how it's cumulative because it's building upon the last chapter as you're continuing to read it.
Let's talk about your journey and impact as a writer. How did writing this book transform your own mindset? Did you have any personal metamorphosis during the process?
Yeah, I mean, um, so I kind of wrote it for myself to help me because I was stressed, I was overwhelmed, I was stuck, like because everything with my wife going on, with my wife's cancer diagnosis, with um, me losing my job, like having no income, like I could have easily just been like, life sucks and having that negative mindset. And so for my transformation, like I wrote it to help me out because I was there. I was the one that was stressed and overwhelmed and stuck and like not knowing what to do or how to go about it. And it really kind of just started as like, I'm trying to do this to help me out. Like I was just journaling. Like, all right, I'm like, I got to figure out how to get unstuck and how to not feel overwhelmed. And then it transformed into, well, maybe I'm not the only one that's overstressed and overwhelmed and feeling like life is beating me up. Like, so for me, I'm like, I wrote it for not just for me, but I wrote it for other people. And for me, like I never would have thought of like writing a book. And so like sometimes adversity or sometimes hardships, it it transforms you as you're going through it. Because for me, I'm just like, I'm just a guy, like I don't know what I'm doing to help my wife, but at the same time, like, well, maybe someone else needs help, that they're feeling stuck. And so that was kind of my transformation.
Mr. DK, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please listen to my other podcast, people, my other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, my book 101 review in fifth season too, comedy 101 in second season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well, geography 101 in its fourth season, and my baby podcast, law 101 and mental health 101 Love Letters in its third season, and Movie 101 Review and Music 101 in fourth season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its first season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcasts. So, Mr. DK, my last question is, if readers could only take one fundamental principle from mindset metamorphosis to apply to their life, what would you want it to be?
Continue to learn, never stop learning.
Never stop learning, people. Learn every day, read every day, or listen to an audiobooks so that you will learn something. Mr. DK Kang. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books? Mr. DK,
Yes.
where do people buy your books?
Yeah. So you can find it on Amazon. Mindset Metamorphosis by DK Kang, and it will pop right up on Amazon.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. DK Kang because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books like this to come. So, Mr. DK, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
More to come, people. See you soon.